What is the worst reaction you've ever witnessed to a pregnancy announcement? She had been keeping the news to herself for weeks, waiting for the right moment. That day, after dinner, she sat across from them at the small kitchen table, her hands nervously twisting a napkin. Her voice barely above a whisper. She told them she was expecting a baby. Her mother's face went pale, and her father's jaw clenched so tight it looked like his teeth might crack. There was a long silence, broken only by the ticking of the old wall clock. Sarah braced herself, expecting disappointment or worry. But what came next stunned her. Her mother's eyes filled with tears, not tears of joy, but of anger. "How could you be so irresponsible?" she snapped. "You're throwing your life away. We worked hard to give you a future, and you're throwing it all away for some mistake." Her father stood up abruptly, knocking his chair back with a loud scrape. "This is unacceptable," he said, voice low but shaking. "We don't need this kind of burden. You'll ruin everything if you bring a child into this family now." Sarah's heart pounded, a mix of shock and hurt spreading through her chest. She had imagined disappointment, maybe some shock, but not this harsh rejection. She tried to explain, to tell them she was ready, that she wanted to keep the baby, but they weren't listening. Her mother's face twisted with frustration. "You're just a kid yourself," she said. "How will you take care of a baby? You don't even have a stable job or a place to live." Her words cut deeper than Sarah expected, striking at fears she hadn't fully faced herself. Her father paced the kitchen, running his hands through his thinning hair. "We're going to have to rethink everything," he muttered. "This changes everything." It wasn't a statement of hope or planning. It was a verdict, heavy and final. Sarah felt tears prick her eyes but blinked them away. She wanted to say something to make them understand, to make them see that she wasn't alone in this, but the words got caught in her throat. The rest of the evening passed in strained silence. Her parents exchanged quiet, tense words, casting occasional glances at Sarah, who sat frozen, trying to steady her breathing. The warmth of the kitchen, the familiar clinking of dishes, all felt distant and cold. Days later, the tension hadn't eased. Calls from her mother became less frequent and colder in tone. Her father avoided eye contact when they crossed paths. Invitations to family dinners stopped. Sarah felt herself shrinking under the weight of their disappointment. At school and work, she kept the news close, avoiding questions and whispers. Friends who knew offered support, but Sarah longed for her family's acceptance, a comfort that felt more and more out of reach. When she finally went to her ultrasound appointment, she wished she could share the joy with her parents, to show them the flickering heartbeat on the screen. Instead, she sat alone in the dim room, clutching the printout like a fragile promise. Months passed, and the baby grew inside her, a small but steady reminder of the future she was building on her own. The coldness from her parents didn't thaw. Birthdays came and went without calls or cards. Holiday dinners were spent at a friend's house, the absence of family glaring. Sarah learned to live with the silence, to find strength in the little moments. Kicks beneath her hand, the soft flutter of a newborn's breath, the small circle of friends who became her chosen family. The worst reaction she ever witnessed to a pregnancy announcement was the one she lived through, a wall of rejection from the people she had hoped would be her biggest supporters. It left scars, but it also carved out a space for her own resilience. The baby came into the world, wrapped in love she fought to create, a testament to a future she was determined to claim no matter the cost.